Lucas Corley with head coach Sherry Dunbar, a volleyball coach. A big weekend coming up this weekend. Finally get to play some volleyball.
Yeah.
There's been some scrimmages, there have been some practices, but now you finally get to see someone other than yourself in practice as you head down to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Heading down there, what do you expect to be the competition level? Who do you think will be the stiffest competition you'll face?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously you can look back on records and they can look at our record from last year, and I think, Cleveland State, I think, returns the most players with 11, and then the others return 6 and 7 players. So, not understanding totally what their freshman class is going to look like, how they're going to contribute to that. But I think, Cleveland State will have the most veteran team that we're going to play against. But, I'm not as interested in that. We won't see Bowling Green, obviously, on film or anything before we get down there, because no one has played yet, so that, we're on even playing ground. We will get to see Middle Tennessee and Cleveland State, though, live and scout them live before we play them, and that's always helpful, just to give some pointers to our players and everything. But we've kind of given them a summary of all three teams. I'm not as worried about them. I think the thing we're really focused on is playing at a certain standard right now, and I think if we play at that standard, I'm going to be very happy. And if we play at that standard, I think we can be successful this weekend, and that's the goal.
Well, you must be reading my notes, because my next question here, you consistently talk about that standard.
Yeah.
We talked about after the scrimmage. What does that look like on the court?
Well, we've talked about our 4 priorities really: defense, passing in system, and we say that we have a scale that we use just for our team in practice, and they know that a 3.2 55% perfect passes, and we stat that every day. So looking at that kind of standard of passing, we're looking to serve extremely tough, so serving a team out of system 50% of the time. So looking at our numbers on that and looking at errors versus aces, things like those type of things. And then smart aggressive hitting. We've worked since January on selections of hitting and understanding how to use a block and not avoid a block. Because if you look at our errors in the past, we're hitting balls out of bounds or we're not necessarily always getting blocked, but we're not understanding how to use a block. So I think we've become a smarter team, and I think we have very specific goals in mind for that standard, so they know what that means. It's not just a saying, to say. They know when they do these things, this is good volleyball. This allows us to do some really good things on our side of the net. And so I think that's what we're looking for. What I was really happy about in our scrimmage that we had this past weekend, we translated our serving. We had some errors, obviously, but we translated our tough serving into a scrimmage situation in front of fans, which we had great fans out there on Saturday night. So to be able to see some of those translations, even our pin attackers being able to use the block very well, and make some changes to what they were doing. So I think we're starting to see that translation. Sometimes you don't. You see it in practice, and then you actually put them in a uniform in front of people, and they revert back to their comfort zone. And that doesn't win. Being comfortable doesn't always, equate to success. And so to try to get them uncomfortable and try to get that standard every day in practice so that's their new norm, that's what we're trying to do with our team right now. And, we're so trained that the Big Ten is the best conference in the country. And so as soon as you say a Minnesota or a Penn State, our kids, obviously you get geared up to play teams in the Big Ten. So we've really tried to get them, and that's why we talk about standards so much. Pretend that's no name on the other side of the net. So it's just you playing against an opponent, and this is what we want to accomplish. What we want to do is every match is extremely important to our overall success in the season, and we want to treat every match exactly the same. And so I think that importance coming from a coaching staff to the team will translate into what they do on the court, and I think that's our goal.
And other than a 3-0 record, what do you hope to be the big takeaway from the weekend?
Yeah, those goals, the things we're talking about: gritty defense, serving exceptionally well, being able to run a solid offense and make decisions and not have to use our pins all the time and put so much pressure on them. And then especially our pins being able to make really good decisions with their swings. And I think if we get done with that and we can look at film like we did at the scrimmage and take away a lot of things from that and build on it, I think the big thing is creating more and more confidence with our players. So when they step on the court, they believe in what they're doing out there and not, I'm going to try to do this, or I did that a little bit in practice. No, I can do this. When I get back to serve, I know I can take them out of system. So I think that's what we want to create in them, is more and more confidence. So by the time we get to the Big Ten season, they step on the court expecting to win and not hoping to win.